Mailbag time here on the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports, answering questions you guys asked during our live show, which airs every Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, so tune in if you have not before. This first question coming via Super Chat from Joshua Miller. What position can we least afford an injury? Outside of the obvious quarterback, I think linebacker is probably an easy one to say because when you think about the linebacker room, and we can throw that depth chart on screen for you guys, you don't have a lot of depth, right? At the moment, it is ice thin, right? Because you are getting guys back from season-ending injuries a season ago. So I would say linebacker for sure because after Walker or Phillips, Walker or Taki, Jacob Phillips, the backup, is also coming off an injured season last year. So I'll go with linebacker on defense. On offense, I think Nick Chubb because we just haven't seen enough from Jerome Ford to even know what we have in Jerome Ford. So linebacker and running back would be the two spots we could probably least afford an injury, excluding quarterback, of course. Next question coming in from Jim Cougar. Who is your defensive breakout candidate for this offseason? Or this season, I'll go with. Good question. Defensive breakout candidate. Well, I do have a couple rules for breakout candidates. You can't be a rookie. You can't break out in your rookie season. And I don't think you can break out after like year 4 or 5, right? Could JOK, right? I think JOK maybe would be a good candidate to be a household name or close to it, where teams go, wow, I had never heard of that JOK guy. I can't even pronounce his name. But after my team played the Browns, that guy's scary. Kind of reminds me of the Dolphins safety, Javon Holland, where you have never heard of him until your team plays the Dolphins, and you're like, that guy just screwed us over. So JOK would be my breakout candidate on the defensive side. Jim, appreciate the question. We got a question coming in from a Guardians player. Any other possible trade targets for the Browns? You can't ever rule Andrew Berry out for a trade. Like, if anyone ever tells you that you're silly or crazy or unrealistic for offering a trade idea involving the Browns, you should laugh at them because Andrew Berry loves making trades. If I had to think of one, this is definitely a big reach, but then again, no one saw the Za'Darius Smith trade coming. What about Isaiah Simmons, right? It's a new regime, new GM down in the desert who did not draft the former top 10 player out of Clemson. And the Browns, like I said, are a bit thin at linebacker, and Isaiah Simmons has just never quite found a role in Arizona. I think a good DC like Jim Schwartz could carve out a nice role for Simmons. Now, I think it will cost you a little bit to get Simmons, and that's probably going to be too much for the Browns, right? Without a first-round pick next year, it probably wouldn't cost you a first for Simmons, but if it's a second or third, maybe the Browns sort of back off and just trust what they have in their current linebacker room. But then again, I didn't think they would go after Za'Darius Smith, and who's to say the Browns don't smell a good deal for Simmons and say, screw it, we're already all in. Why not even just exclude pushing all of our chips to the middle of the table? Let's push the person that's next to us chips in the middle of the table. Like, that's how all in we are here. So will the Browns make another trade? It might be like a low-level trade, kind of like last year with New England for Chase Winovich. But what do you think? At the end of the day, will they make another deal, yes or no? This is the pinned comment, so let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section. This question coming in from Centrion. Is it possible for a Quincy Carrier crossover? Definitely never opposed to doing crossovers or hopping on other shows like that. I think the better question would be to ask Quincy Carrier that question. So feel free to pose that question to him. But he puts out great content over on YouTube. I'm sure many people here are subscribed to him over there. So definitely never opposed to doing anything like that. I'm always game to talk Browns football. So appreciate the question. Lil Bean, what's going on? Should the Browns sign Leonard Fournette? I'm going to go with no. If the Browns are going to sign another running back, at least sign a running back that brings something new to the room, right? Brings a receiving ability that you maybe don't have the best in Nick Chubb. If you sign Leonard Fournette, you're just getting a worse version of Nick Chubb, I think, right? If you're going to try to replace Kareem Hunt, right? Replace what he brought to this offense, a receiving ability. You don't get that so much in Leonard Fournette. So for that reason, I'll pass on playoff Lenny. I know he's a big name, but I'm not looking for more Nick Chubb in between the tackles running backs. I want to bring a Kareem Hunt or a Jerick McKinnon who re-signed, right? Another receiving ability type running back, not another in between the tackles running back. Now, if you hate the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Ravens, or the Bengals, or all of the above, make sure to subscribe because this is the channel for you. We are always chanting F Pitt here, so hit that sub button down below if you bleed brown and orange and you cannot stand the other AFC North teams. Terrence Thomas, what's going on? Who is playing opposite Denzel Ward during OTAs? So Greg Newsome started off in the slot, which is probably not where Greg Newsome wanted it to be, but it's just May. There's always reshuffling. Okay. I always love looking back at old mock drafts to see how horribly wrong that upcoming draft was. Go look at OTA takeaways from last season and see how horribly wrong a lot of things were because it's May. It's an install. A lot of this is for the rookies and for first-time players on the Browns to learn the facilities and learn the lingo, learn the terminology, and learn the playbook. Early on, it's just putting guys in spots. It is not setting anyone in any, specific position or putting anything in stone. But to, I guess, really answer your question, which I did not in all my rambling, Martin Emerson. Joshua Miller. Will Cedric Tillman and Elijah Moore be our starting wide receivers in 2024? So off the top of my head, Amari Cooper has a $23 million cap hit in 2024. Donovan Peoples-Jones is going to be a free agent. I do not see a way both of them return, right? I don't see a way you hold on to Amari Cooper while also re-signing Donovan Peoples-Jones. Now, if we learned anything from the wide receiver market this past year, teams weren't dying to overpay receivers. Guys got $10-ish million a season. If that's what DPJ gets, kind of like a Mecole Hardman signing with the Jets, then I could see the Browns probably passing on that. I'm sure they'll try to find a way to extend him mid-season for less. But if he thinks he can get more after the season, then Cedric Tillman and Elijah Moore are going to be under contract in 2024. You mix in David Bell and you mix in another free agent signing or another draft pick, and that very well could be your receiving room. But I bet they try to hold on to Cooper or DPJ. I don't think they get both, though. Rickety Splits, what's going on? Any under-the-radar players for 2023 that we should be looking at in camp? Under the radar. It's a little tough for this team because this team is just so talented. Like, this is not a developmental young team, say like the Chicago Bears, right? My under the radar, and this really isn't under the radar, I'm going to go with Elijah Moore. I'm going to kind of spin this question as more of a, people should talk more about Elijah Moore and what he could do in this offense. Because Deshaun Watson was the NFL passing leader back in 2020. And when you look at his leading receivers in 2020, Brandon Cooks, over 1,000 yards. Will Fuller was 121 yards away from being a 1,000-yard receiver, and he only played in 11 games. Had he played a full season, no doubt the Texans have 2,000-yard receivers, something Cleveland I don't think has had in quite some time. So if you're looking for a pair of 1,000-yard receivers, good chance it's Elijah Moore opposite of Amari Cooper. Could be Donovan Peoples-Jones, but I'm a big fan of Elijah Moore. So Elijah Moore is maybe someone that isn't maybe getting enough, airtime as someone who very well could be this team's number 2 receiver. Now, who is your sleeper for 2023? It's tough to really call Elijah Moore a true sleeper because I don't think anyone's sleeping on him, but maybe he deserves to get a little bit more, front page title space, if you will. So let me know who your sleeper is down in the comment section. We're going to get on to our next question in just a moment. But before we do, the t-shirt combo deal is still going on at Fanatics, but it will not last forever. Now get this awesome not one but 2 shirt deal on sale when you go to chatsports.com/CLE combo. I've got all that information in the comments and the description of today's video. Next question coming in from Ray Bidding. Do you think the Browns missed a fullback last year to get additional blocking? I mean, first off, rest in peace to fullbacks right now because they are a bit of a dying breed, but there's a recent surge to have them come back. Do I think they missed a fullback? No. I think especially in 2023, you're not going to see a fullback in this type of offense, right? They want to go more 11 personnel. 1 running back, 1 tight end, 3 wide receivers. So you want to air raid the ball. You don't need a big fullback in the backfield to do that. I don't think they're looking for a fullback. they miss a fullback last year? I mean, the offensive line, when Ethan Posick got hurt, went down. Kareem Hunt kind of went down the shitter a little bit. Nick Chubb was better in the first half of the season than the second half of the season. So I guess they could have stood to add a fullback, but don't think that means that they should add one this year. It's going to be an air raid this year. No fullbacks and air raids. Depressed Browns fan. Do you think Tillman will be a starter or just a rotational player? He is just a rookie, and all fans always get super drunk off rookie hype, and then the regular season rolls around, and we're like, okay, maybe we were a bit, over the line about what his role would be. We kind of did that a little bit with David Bell last season, and he was good for like one grab max a game, maybe two. So I don't think he's going to be a week one starter. I think Tillman is a player that is going to grow into a bigger role as the season progresses. And if an injury pops up, I think he's got the skill set where when he gets a hold of a starting job, he won't relinquish it. But if everyone's healthy, he might be in the shadows a little bit more than we think right now in May. I remember giving a hot take saying Tillman's going to be this team's third leading receiver. It's May. I'm in the business of giving hot takes that I don't have to stand by in a couple months. But hey, don't be shocked if Tillman is this team's number 3 receiver if he gets the opportunity and he runs with it. Centrion, once again, what's going on? What is the most underrated offseason move for the Browns? This is actually a very good question because I was going to do a whole video about ranking underrated moves by the Browns. I don't think it's okay. Zadarius Smith is an awesome move, but that's not underrated, right? Everyone knows that's awesome. Can I go with Jim Schwartz or Bubba Vitrone being added? Like, not even player additions, but the Browns, close your eyes for a moment and go back in time. What were we begging for the most last year in October, November, December? Get Joe Woods out of Cleveland. They did that with a major upgrade in Jim Schwartz. So I think that is an underrated move. While we can talk about the Elijah Moore trade or Zadarius Smith trade, Jim Schwartz being the new DC is probably not being talked about enough in terms of turning around this defense that has lots of talent and putting it to its best use. So I'll go with Jim Schwartz, and don't sleep on Bubba Vitrone. The Colts special teams unit was always towards the top of the league when he was in command there. So I think the special teams and defensive sides are going to have a big boost in 2023. Before we wrap up today's mailbag, you know the drill. Off-season mode, pick a card time. So if you're just tuning in for the first time, we pick a random card to end each episode for the off-season. Pick a card, type it down in the comment section. You got a 1 in 52 chance to get it. Producer Jack, you want to give me your prediction?
Let's do the 7 of diamonds.
7 of diamonds. I will go 10 of diamonds. How about that? The diamond family. We got the diamond family right. 4 diamonds. 4 diamonds. Did we just have 4 hearts the last episode? Yeah, okay. So it's a good run for the 4s and the 2s and whatnot. All right, that's going to do it for us on today's mailbag. We will see you guys later.